All right. Hey, everyone. Let me adjust this microphone. All right, cool. Hey, Mark here, Mark P Markets. Thank you for joining me for another Bitcoin video analysis session. I'm going to make a couple of changes to the format. I'll explain that in a moment, but let's get this thing started, shall we? All right, so let me just pull this up right away. First things first, this is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. All right, and now next, so if you're new to the stream, let's say hello to a few people. We got AM, good to see you. Howard, Johan, all right, good to see you all. Again, it's going to be a little slow because, time of the year, we're going to talk about that as well. But let me just explain to you really quick how the format goes and where I'm going to make some changes. So first, as you know, I go over the economic calendar. That is something you should do every Monday just to be aware of the important events that could be coming out during the week that can affect your trades, whether it's a stock, Forex, whatever it is. You need to be aware of these news events, okay, so that you could mitigate risk. Number one. Number two, we're going to talk about the Bitcoin chart here. And in particular today, I'm going to talk about the setup that I'm looking for, because this can be very confusing for people. All right, this situation. And I see a lot of talk of buying the bounce and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But there are a few things that people overlook in these situations. So I want to get into that. Hey, Alice. All right. Oh, hey, I got it. AM. Got it. Cool. Alice. All right. Alice has been helping me out with some really important things. And we're actually going to have some clips coming out very soon, thanks to him. So you should thank him for that. Thank you, Alice, for all of your hard work. I really appreciate that. So anyway, yeah. All right. So we're going to go over the Bitcoin situation. All right. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the trade scanner. Couple of trades there that went off. I want to put them on the chart. And then that's it. I'm not going to do Q&A today. So it's going to be a little shorter, probably about 35, 40 minutes rather than an hour. Okay. So that's how it's going to go. And I'm going to be cutting these shorter over the next few weeks for a few reasons, because again, we're making some changes to optimize my content and stuff like that. So anyway, all right. By the way, if you like this stuff, please press the like button. Please subscribe. Let me go to my trading view chart over here. My trading view people. See if anyone's saying hello over there. No, of course not. Trading view people, if you can type something in, now would be a good time. So if you guys want to put questions and stuff relevant to what I'm going to talk about, that's cool. All right. So by the way, also, if you want to share what city or what country you're from, that's always a fun fact. I'm streaming from the greater New York City area, also known as Northern New Jersey. All right. Anyway, so first things first, economic calendar. Now I'm just going to explain this very quick before we make the chart bigger and all that. The economic calendar this week, we have almost nothing. Okay. Let me just touch on this first. The next 2 weeks are the height of what? Vacation season, right? Everyone goes away. These next 2 weeks are going to be the peak of that. So you better believe the markets are probably going to be the worst. And I don't mean bearish. I just mean there's going to be a lot of inactivity. So if you're going to take time off from the market or from slowing your trades, this is the time. Okay. Okay, cool. Alice, we'll take a look at that. Remember, that's not a one-to-one relationship. Remember that. So the point is, things are going to be slow and uneventful typically. There could always be a spurt here and there if there's some unexpected news event. But if you're going to take time off, these next 2 weeks are usually the worst 2 weeks of the year to trade. Please keep that in mind. And this is particular to short-term strategies like day trades, swing trades. These are the worst to. It's not filled with fluff and fake gurus and all that stuff. It's from the Option Industry Council, right? That's something I would suggest checking that out. If someone wants to put the link in the channel. Hey, Will, how are you? Okay, so that's what you want to spend this time for. Maybe read a book. Maybe just completely take a complete break from the markets and do something else. Okay, clear your mind, relax, all that kind of stuff. That's what you should be doing. over these next 2 weeks. Now, speaking of that, on that note, what do we have this week in terms of economic calendar? Well, there's really nothing important to mention until we get to Thursday, right? Which is the 24th, I believe. I believe Thursday is the 24th, right? Because today's the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Yeah, 24th. We have the Japanese CPI, which probably is not a big deal, but we have the beginning of the Jackson Hole Conference, the symposium, and Chairman Powell is speaking. I believe it's on Thursday. So that's the only event that's worth looking at this week, and it's very possible that it's a non-event. Now, keep in mind, the Jackson Hole Symposium is a place in Wyoming, right? They all go to Wyoming, and it's basically a retreat or a getaway for central bankers, probably to get away from their wives, okay, for a couple of days. Imagine now, this is a central banker convention. So I would imagine that the food is going to be good, the drinks are going to be good, but the jokes are going to be horrendous, right? It's going to be, imagine how exciting you're partying with central bankers. And what are these guys going to talk about besides interest rates? What are they going to talk about? Cigars? Bourbon? I mean, I don't. What do central bankers talk about? Anyway, so keep in mind, the Jackson Hole Symposium is Thursday and Friday, and there's going to be news coming out of there. Since the news has nothing else to report, they're probably going to try to dramatize things. And again, Chairman Powell is speaking, so he can cause a movement here and there if he says anything unexpected. So please keep that in mind. Otherwise, there's nothing else to mention this week as far as the economic calendar goes. Okay. Hey, Raman, good to see you. All right. So that's the economic calendar. Let's move on now. Hey, Stian, won't be able to follow. Oh, okay. But you will have a look at the stream after this. Can you? Okay. Alfin. All right. So for Stian, I'll take a look. I mean, Stian has been doing some pretty amazing work. For those of you that are not familiar, Stian put together, he updated my trade scanner. So now it actually generates the take profit and the stop loss for every trade. We have that working on the coins. And I want to talk about two of those coins that were generated today. In fact, Stian, real quick, if you're there, can you put the coins, or Raman, can you put the coins? Can you put one of the coins, put Litecoin in the chat? We could take a look at that Litecoin trade. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Hey, Milad. All right. Over on TradingView. Yeah. Almost no one well, yeah. Who expected it? Right. I mean, I was long too, but we're going to talk about that here in a moment. Anyway. So yeah, Raman, can you put that Litecoin trade? I would appreciate that. So Stian made some important updates to the trade scanner, and actually we're going to do this for the stock scanner too. The stock scanner generates these long lists right now, and it's hard for someone that's new because they don't know what to do with that raw information. So we're actually going to apply some advanced filters to it, which he's doing all the work. We're going to apply some advanced filters, and it's only going to pick one stock. Okay. So each day it will pick one stock, and it'll be long or short, and it's going to give you the stop loss, take profit. It's even going to tell you when their quarterly report is coming out, or if the quarterly report for the stock is too close, it will skip the stock. So the robot's getting smarter. Anyway, we could thank Stian for all that. So thank you, Stian. Amazing work. I mean, we got more coming too. There's a lot of stuff in the works right now. So please be patient, people. But I am looking to really add a lot of value. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, you can click on the link in the description, click on Trade Scanner, or just come into the community. The Discord community is free. There's a free area. And speaking of that, I started a channel in there called the Community Chat, and that's for free members. Okay, I've never had this before. And the Community Chat is moderated by Alex, who I just updated. I just promoted to a moderator. He's been a top student and all that stuff, been following me for a while. He knows my methodology really well. So I thought he'd be a good fit. And he moderates that. So when he's available, you can go in there, you can ask questions and that stuff. When he's not available, the chat will be locked. So you won't be able to type anything when he's not available. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So just wanted to run those announcements real big. Okay, so let's get into Bitcoin here and let's talk about this situation and why I titled this, Do Not Buy Until This Setup Appears. All right, that's basically the title and what I'm talking about here. So I wrote an article on TradingView yesterday, and it was a really long article because I was covering all the changes that have occurred. Let me make my chart bigger before you guys start yelling at me. Okay, hold on a second there. Here we go. All right. So why lock it? That's a good question, Azir. The reason why I locked that channel is because two reasons. Number one, spammers. Number two, herd mentality. New people and inexperienced people have no idea how markets work. I see this on TradingView all the time with all the nonsense comments that I see, and I don't want that in my community. So the only people that can chat in my community are premium members, because most of them have gone through my training and they understand the culture of the community. It's very specific. I don't want herd mentality. I don't want hype. I don't want garbage in my community. I'm very, very particular about that, because I don't want people being confused. I have a lot of new people that come in and they're very impressionable, right? So if some moron comes along and says, "Hey, Bitcoin's going to 50K," someone may believe that. All right. We have enough fake gurus doing that. I don't need people in my community doing that. So that's why I keep it locked. And it's always been locked. And I'm only opening it now because I have someone that can moderate it. Okay. So anyway, so let's talk. That's a good question. So let's talk about Bitcoin here. And let's talk about this situation. Now, the first thing I want to mention is I called a long, okay, on a few weeks ago. I called a long on Bitcoin, and it was based on, I believe, where was that long? I think the long was over here. No, I'm sorry, it was a pin bar. This was the long that I called. Okay, I'm going to make that nice and big. I called that personally. That wasn't Trade Scanner. That was me calling it, right? And I talked about the Trade Scanner was actually bearish at that time, and I said, well, we have a level and all this and all that, and then we had the pin bar, and so everything lined up. And then since that time, it tried. Okay. In fact, Steen got out at like a nice, he got out at like 30K or somewhere near there. He got out near this high. Nice move on his part, but that was his own choice. Okay. That was his own decision that he made there. My take profit was much higher, and my stop was at 28,300. These orders, by the way, were mentioned in advance. On the day that I opened up this trade and I shared it with everyone, I gave the orders. I said, here's my entry, here's my stop, here's my take profit. All right. Now, again, a very important point to realize, because everyone right now is focused on this, right? And everyone just sees this. You need to understand something. At the time, before that occurred, this structure that I'm showing you right here on the chart is a bullish structure. Okay. We have this entire area is basically, it was a support, right? The 28K support area, and price was just basically consolidating into it. So naturally, I was looking for longs until the market proves otherwise. There is no way to know that this is going to turn and break. Markets are random. So if you accepted that markets are random, then you would understand that there's no way to know if this is going to 50K. There's no way to know if this is going to 20K. There's no way to know. The only thing we can know is how much we want to risk. So I knew in advance that 28K is a key level. And if price breaks that level, probably this trade is no good. Okay. So I picked what, 28.3 or whatever it was. It was a 1,300 point stop loss. I'll be, wow, that's a lot. Well, it's a swing trade. Okay. The max loss on this thing, or the max exposure, was like over 5,000 points. All right. So my max exposure was 1,300 points. The low, if you stayed in this thing, like a lot of people do, or get liquidated, they get margined out, you had to sit in this thing until 24,140 or whatever the low is right there. Okay. And again, there's no way to see that coming. So some news comes out, whatever it was, Elon Musk, whatever. I don't know the precise news. I don't care. I don't follow news. News is unimportant. And if you think news is important, you have a lot to learn. So news comes out and surprises everyone. This is what happens. Now, keep in mind, you realize that news could have been positive news, right? And then we could have seen the opposite. And everyone would have been all excited and blah, 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 right? And you would see all the frauds on YouTube coming out saying that Bitcoin's going to 100K again. Well, so instead we got this. Now, so it doesn't matter what the news is. None of that matters. What matters is now the adjustment and the new levels. That is all that matters. If you like to confuse yourself with other information like news and fundamentals and what this guy says and what that guy says, that's your problem. I can't save you from that. I can't protect you from that. You need to learn that that's ineffective. I can tell you that it's ineffective, but you actually have to believe it yourself. So my point is this: I want to adjust. How do I adjust? Well, first of all, 28K was cleared, okay, decisively. That level is broken. By the way, in bullish markets, supports should not break. They should hold. The fact that this broke means the market is not as bullish as previously thought, okay? This is a change that we must adjust our expectations. Now that this is broken, keep in mind, a market that doesn't go from bullish straight to bearish. You may, if you're looking on a smaller time frame, sure, you'll make that conclusion, which is wrong. We're looking at the bigger picture here, right? So the bigger picture, this initial bullish structure, or short-term bullish structure, as I like to refer to it, was bullish, okay? This entire structure was bullish. Now, it's arguably a consolidation, because we bounced off the 25K support. I mean, look, this line, by the way, was sitting here for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And look where the market found its support, right? So that's, having these levels on your chart can be very useful, because for day trades especially, right? I mean, this was a nice move. If you were watching this at the time and you saw that you saw the level that you were going into, and you knew that a bounce is likely, but how far, that's another story. Okay, so now here's what I want to get into today's topic, which is do not buy until this setup appears, because this is where the people make the mistakes. This break of support is meaningful, and it means that our short-term trend is now bearish, or basically the momentum is bearish. Trend can be categorized by time. So I look at short-term, mid-term, long-term. So short-term is bearish. Mid-term is likely to be range-bound. Okay, although the market may prove otherwise, but at this point, as long as 25K holds, I'm basically using, I wrote it in my article, 24,750 or whatever the number was. That's what I'm using, which is based on this low over here. That is what I'm using. As you can see, it took out the low briefly. You see this over here, the tail? Let me remove this rectangle. You see it took out the low. And you may think, well, shouldn't you consider this bearish now? It took out the low. No, it rejected the low. It took it out briefly and then swiftly rejected. That means something. That means there is support there right now, okay? A decisive break is when I change my expectations. Decisive break means we close at the bottom of the candle, the next candle opens, and we go lower. I don't see that here. So this is likely to be a range, with 25K being the support, okay? Very similar to that gold situation that we had, or we still have for years and years and years, right? I mean, let me pop up gold here real quick. I'm sure you guys who follow gold should know what I'm talking about, right? Gold has been in a consolidation forever, all right? If I go to a weekly chart on gold, look, this is gold, look at this, okay? Bitcoin may be getting into one of these. For years, gold, this is a range. So long-term trend on gold, right? The way I define long-term trend is range-bound, okay? And we're still near the higher part of the range. So Bitcoin may be pulling one of these type of moves at this point. I don't know. That's a possibility, and that's the possibility that I am going with until the market proves otherwise, okay? Does that make sense? So let's talk about the setup. And this is like the key part here. When you have a situation that's questionable, like this, right? We cannot ignore, let me just clean up a few things here. We cannot ignore this move. That's bearish momentum. It's a lot of bearish momentum. A lot of people just completely ignore it and they go, oh, we're at support, it's going to bounce. But it may bounce, but how far? What is the potential? What should we expect? And what type of trade should we be considering? Should we consider day trades? Should we consider swing trades? Well, so let me explain further. When we have bearish momentum and a support break like that, the first thing I'm looking for is momentum continuation, okay? And the momentum continuation setup, I'm going to make this nice and big for you to see, is right here, okay? The low of that inside bar, which is 25,791, or basically you can round that to 25,750 or 7 even if you want to. And if it takes that out, then I'd be looking for more bearish momentum. But keep in mind, you're doing that at a support level, a pretty significant support level. So what type of trade should you be taking in that area? Probably a day trade or a low expectation swing trade, because you're shorting into a support, right? Now, that if the momentum continues, this thing may see the 24s. That's possible. But if it doesn't continue and it finds support again, you don't want to get caught in that. So the mistake you don't want to make in a situation like this is short it and then say, oh, I'm going to put my take profit at 20K and I'm going to put my stop at, something like, 28K. Like that would not be right, because you're at a support level. It may work, but you're taking a much greater risk than you should have to. Because again, we're at a support level, but the support level may break, right? So when you're in these situations and you're shorting near a support level, lower expectation is more effective. Lower expectation is a day trade. Okay, so you go in, you try to grab a few hundred points or whatever, and you get out. And that's it. Okay, and if you lose a couple of hundred points. You should not be losing thousands of points with a day trade. Now, so let's talk about the setup. The setup that I'm referring to is a swing trade. Now, assuming that this market is going to unfold in a range or a consolidation, if that's the move it's going to make, because again, I can't forecast that. There's no way to know. I don't pretend to know. This is a random game. The market needs to prove it. So what do I need to see? Well, I need to see another test of that level. That's why I drew this squiggly line here, because we may get a little bounce, right? Sucks in all the inexperienced people who don't know any better. They all buy it thinking this thing's going back to 30K. And meanwhile, you're going for the next test of low, right? This is ideal. I don't know if the market's going to show this to us, but if it does, I will be very interested. Okay, so I'm looking for the double bottom or the failed low. My students know what I mean by failed low. I'm not going to explain that right now. But the point is this: if I see that formation, double bottom or failed low, I'll be looking for the confirmation, right? Which could be a pin bar. It could be another inside bar. It's got to show me something that basically doesn't go much lower than this low, okay? It can't go much lower. If it decisively goes lower than that, then no more longs, right? I'm not going to be looking for swing trade longs anymore at that point. I'll be looking at resistance levels for potential shorts, okay? At that point, on the swing trade level. Keep in mind, I'm talking about swing trades now. So that's really the key thing here. This double bottom situation or this scenario is what I like to refer to as a complex setup, right? Compared to or in contrast to a simple setup or a simple reversal, which would be one candle, okay? Like a simple reversal is you get like one candle, right? And then the next candle just goes like this, just goes straight up, right? That's a simple reversal. That's something you should be looking for in a market that has a clear-cut, broader trend, right? But in a situation like this where the trend may be in question or there may be some sort of transition going on, I prefer a complex reversal for more confirmation. Now, of course, it takes more time. This idea that I'm talking about here can take a whole week, right? It may pop up a bit, it may pull back a bit, and it takes a lot of time. So you have to be patient, again, on the swing trade time frame. It doesn't mean that there won't be any opportunities, but if there are going to be, these are mostly likely going to be day trade opportunities in this area, both on the long and short side. Keep in mind, as a day trader, you can play both sides. You just have to really understand what you're doing and what you're looking for precisely. And you should have a system, of course. Okay, so that's pretty much the setup that I'm looking for. And my whole purpose of this stream is so that I help open your eyes to the idea that you shouldn't just buy this thing just because it pulled back. That's not enough. And the reason why in this scenario is, like I said, you cannot ignore this momentum. If that momentum follows through and you're buying this thing now, you're going to find yourself stuck in this thing at like 22K or whatever. Because if that level breaks, if 25K breaks, look what you're looking at here. You're looking at the old 22 to 20K support, right? Where is that? This is the 21K area right here. So basically it's like 22 here. I know I'm a little far away from the microphone. Hold on. It's something like this around here, okay? That's like the next support level if this is cleared. And if that breaks, we're in bear mode, okay? 20K that's a pretty heavy duty level, okay? If that level breaks, 15K becomes a possibility. But again, this is all contingent on what the market chooses to do. This is not a forecast. Like everyone thinks that, that it's possible to know the future. It's not. So please, that's lesson number one. If you're new, you cannot forecast markets on the long term. You're just fooling yourself, right? Markets are random. So we have to let the market make its move, and then we adjust, and we adjust our expectations, probabilities, and levels. And then based on that information, we can come up with new scenarios to anticipate. You must always be on the anticipation side, not the reaction side. Because if you react, if you react to information, you have failed before you've even pressed your first button. Okay? The typical scenario for reacting is you see some news or you watch some stuff or whatever, or you read something and then you react because you feel like you're going to miss this, you're going to miss that. If that's you, you have a long way to go. Right? You cannot make money that way. You'll make money randomly, but you will give it back in a hurry. Trust me, you will. Okay? People, by the way, who appreciate me are people that have been in this game for about a year and made some money, and then they give it all back, and they realize there's more to this than what they thought. And that's usually when, if they find me, they say, man, I wish I found you earlier. That's the problem, okay? The problem is you can't appreciate what I'm showing you because I don't lie. I show you the honest view of the market, and I share honest concepts where you won't hear anywhere else. In fact, it's funny, real quick story. Stian sent me, we're working on this email template thing, right? Because we're going to have email backups for the trade scanner, which is a great value add, by the way. You get an email now. You don't always have to go into the Discord community. Anyway, we're working on that. So he sends me this text that was generated by AI, right? He wanted to fool around with that and see what AI would come up with as far as an email template. You should have seen the language in this thing. And I wrote back to him. I said, I would never write stuff like this. Like there was so much false optimism baked into this. Like, well, learn to hone your skills as a trader. And, there are risks involved, but people make all kinds of money. Like, what is this? Like, no wonder why no one makes any money. No wonder why everyone comes to this game with the wrong expectations. It's baked in everywhere. If you do a simple Google search and you type in how to trade Forex or how to trade Bitcoin, that falsely optimistic language is baked into everything. Please be mindful of what you consume. Markets are random. This is not a game of honing skills. And the skills that we are working on are not what you think they are. They always imply this idea that you're going to learn some kind of skill. You're going to learn how to chart read and you will make money too. It can't be anything further from the truth. This is mostly a random game. Okay. They don't write that anywhere. This is mostly a random game. The only thing that says that this is a random game is the random walk theory and efficient markets. You should be familiar with those things. All right. Anyway, I have links to that stuff in my community, which no one reads. All right. So let me start answering some questions here because I can rant about this stuff all day. All right. So let me just go back. Let me go back. All right. Okay. Kai. All right. So Raman. Yeah. And we're going to go over that Litecoin trade. All right. Cool. So which chart is this? I think the low held most exchanges. All right. Well, this is the 8 cap chart. It's basically the same, right? It's basically the same. Maybe it's a little off. I mean, if I pull up another Bitcoin chart on here, let's see. Let's take a look at Bitstamp. I mean, what is the low here? Oh, 25,601. Okay, that's significant. I mean, the other one, the 8 cap one was 24,2 whatever, 24,126 or whatever. So actually, I would go by like the Bitstamp. That's probably a bad tick on 8 cap, or maybe just too many people getting liquidated, whatever. But all right, I'm still using the same level though, right? I'm still using this level as my determining factor. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, that could be confusing for people as well. I use the 8 cap chart because they were sponsoring me like a little while back, and then I started putting analysis on the chart, and now I just keep using the chart. I need to change that. Anyway, thank you for pointing that out, Bill. Okay, do you have any levels lower? Yeah, so where you would blindly buy? No. What do you think about monthly level 18? Okay, so now here's the thing. I wouldn't blindly buy. All right, there is something about placing bids in the market. but that would be probably more appropriate for investing, meaning you're taking small bites. And those levels are basically, you have the support range 22K to 20K, right? That's one support range. If 20K is cleared, you're looking at 18K and possibly the 15K area. Those are the areas. I mean, if you want to pick levels to just, have a little like add, or if you want to see if you want to capitalize on those price spikes, just every whole number, right? Put 20K, put 18K, put 16K, right? And put a little there. But again, it has to be small bites. And maybe you can capitalize on that. But that's more of, again, that's a long-term investing type thing. Keep in mind, people, again, I've been pointing out ZN1. I've been pointing this out for weeks and weeks and weeks, the entire summer. In fact, I refused to touch any stocks because of this situation. And you need to understand something. Alice mentioned before, bonds are going lower, right? And stocks went higher today. It's not a one-to-one thing. Right, this right here are rates. Rates are clearly rising. Look at this. Look where we are. Okay, look at this. This is not what we want to see for investing. Look at this. Rates are rising. So Bitcoin's in trouble. The altcoins, toilet. Okay, growth stocks, toilet. All this nonsense from May to like July. All that AI hype and rally. All in the face of a rising rate environment. It's temporary, man. That's why I don't go near that. I don't buy into all that nonsense that people watch on TV and, the stock market is doing great. Not with the bonds doing this. Okay. I don't care why the bonds are doing it. All I know is they're doing it. And we are looking at rates testing. They're going back to their highs, right? Because again, it's inverse. If I look at the US 10 yield, okay, this is important when it comes to Bitcoin analysis. Oh, man. All right, hold on. US 10 yield, right? Look, this is the US 10 yield. This is the interest rates. This is not good for anything. Banks are going to start failing. You watch, right? So we're setting up for a bearish environment more because this just puts weight on everything, right? It like leans on it. It's like, it's like when you're filling up I can't even think of a good analogy, but it's putting weight on the market. It's putting pressure on the market. And all the market needs is some kind of spark, right? Some kind of catalyst. And when you have this sitting on the market like that, it makes things worse. So I'm not overly surprised that Bitcoin got hammered. And just watch the next few weeks or months. If the bonds continue to look like this and rates continue to look like this and continue higher, watch the bank failures, okay? Watch the Russell 2000 get hammered because it's filled with regional banks. Watch for that, okay? Because that's what this is. These banks are still exposed to this. And all that nonsense back in June, they tried to save them and blah, 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 blah. Well, okay, that was like a temporary thing. But the way they do things in this country right now, I'm not going to go there. But this is just what I'm showing you here, which is factual, is bad, okay? It's not a good thing for investing. So why invest? Why invest when you can get better prices soon? All right. That's why I never touched my speculative growth portfolio the whole year. I'm like, I'm not touching this thing because of this. Okay. This is what prevented me from getting involved in December of 21 when the whole world was buying Apple. All right. So anyway, so good point there. I hope that helps. So anything highly speculative is not going to do well. All right. Hey, Alex, no problem. New moderator. All right, can you take a look at WTI? Okay, so Raman, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here today. I'm changing the format, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on Q&A for those. But since you're a student, of course, I'll answer that one. And Stian had one. I want to answer his because especially Steve, the amount of work that he's been doing. So I'll take on that one. Okay, but other than that, okay, cool. Can you? All right, so yeah, so Alex, I can't get caught up in the what do you call it? The Q&A. All right. So, all right, I'll do yours again. You're working on, you're on the team. So I'll do that one. Okay. All right. What should about investing in bonds for the long term? Investing in bonds? Well, I'm not a bond trader or investor. I mean, I use bonds as an economic, to help shape economic expectations. You're talking about investing in bonds, right? While this thing is sitting on its low and about to break. Here's the thing. We go to the weekly chart on the bonds. Look at this. Does this look bullish to you? Does that look bullish? I hope you say no. This is a lower high right here, and it's about to make a lower low. So I don't know why investing in bonds implies that rates are going to go lower. I don't see any evidence of that. I don't see any Fed talk about that. I don't see anything about rates changing. All I see is inflationary problems. Prices still too high on things. Oil is still too high. So I don't know. I wouldn't know why to invest in bonds. As far as price appreciation, if you're looking about bonds as far as just keeping the money in there and getting your principal back plus the interest, that's another story. Depends on your situation. I can't give you financial advice right now on that. But as far as price appreciation, I just don't see it right now. Bonds are a very economic thing, right? So you need to be aware of like a macroeconomic situation. You need to be aware of what central banks are doing and what they're saying and that kind of thing, because they shape this stuff, right? And basically, this looks bearish. Okay, so I don't know about investing in bonds. All right, so let me just see what other questions I have here real quick. Okay, so TradingView news, and most of it, all news can be, that's a good question about news. TradingView news, all news, anything that's free, man, they're not here to help you. Always remember that. This business is the most deceptive business in the world. No one is here to do you a favor. The news people are just looking to convert attention to dollars, right? It's the attention economy. They've been doing that for years and years and years and years and years, and now YouTubers are doing that too. News is the worst source of information that you could make decisions on, especially short-term trade decisions. It only works randomly and fools people. Hey, I put that on this news recommendation and I made money. You're just fooling yourself, okay? So I hope that helps. News is the worst of the worst. Never, ever follow news. It's just an amplification of it's an amplification of the herd mentality. That's why the information that you're getting is ancient by the time you get it. And the people who are in the know, the insiders, have acted on that information light years before you. So by the time you get it, you're getting stuck with it. That's usually how it goes. That's an old game. Okay. So good question. All right. There are errors to be found and abused. Okay. Yes. And abused? Not sure what you mean by that. Okay. Great info. For your emails, then is there a website that makes text shorter and understandable for free? I can't remember the name. Well, you just check I'm not sure what you're talking about there, but you can check my links. What could stop the bearish environment other than bonds? I don't know. There has to be some kind of growth there has to be some kind of growth catalyst. Okay. Usually this game begins with the bonds. It's interest rates, right? We need cheap money. So we need growth. We need a growth catalyst. We need some kind of new solid industry, some kind of innovation, right? Some kind of big deal. But usually that is bolstered by cheap money. Because in order for VCs to invest in all that stuff, money needs to be able to be borrowed cheaply. This bond picture is not cheap money. Money's getting more expensive. More expensive means recessionary. Okay, things get tighter, not expand. This is not an expansion when bonds look like that. Understand macroeconomics. Take this slow time off that we have over the next 2 weeks to learn general macroeconomic concepts. You can start with the business cycle. Okay, the Pring-Turner business cycle explains this concept very well. Okay. What is good alternative to news? Yourself. That's a good alternative to news. Price action, charts, right? That's all. I don't look. I think I'd waste my time with news. I get all my ideas from price action because price action is the truth. Price action is the reality. And through price action is a reflection of human behavior. You need to understand that markets are a derivative of human behavior. All this stuff that we see on charts is just it's just a reflection of human behavior and nothing more. So you have to look at it from a behavioral perspective. So how do we make decisions? Based on interpreting price action. And what we're looking for is mistakes. We're looking for mistakes that the herd makes. Okay. And those mistakes have certain looks. The thing that I just talked about with Bitcoin, okay, that whole Bitcoin spiel that I spent 20 minutes on, basically is looking for a mistake. A double bottom is a mistake. Right? If we get a double bottom in here, look, let me give you an example. We have this over here. See this right here? Okay. What's the mistake here? My students know everyone gets short over here, all right, on this break, and it's not a short. So they get squeezed. Okay. That's a mistake. So if you know that that's where traders get caught, you know that that's where you should be at least anticipating long, if anything, and not a short. If any, even if you're not going to take a trade, you should not be jumping on board shorting it just because some newscaster said Bitcoin is a short and it's going to 5K and blah, 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 right? That's who shorts this right here. They short it and they get caught right at the bottom. So that's a mistake. And that's called a failed low, right? And you see they get squeezed. That's what leads to this momentum. People getting squeezed out of their trades. This process repeats itself over and over and over. That's what I teach in my training program. All right. So, all right. So here we go. So let's start doing I'm just going to answer a couple of these things. I'm going to talk about Litecoin. All right. Waiting for a catalyst to dump. Right. A catalyst. It could be, again, that's where news basically, the news brings random information to the market, and we don't know how the news is going to be interpreted. So the market, you just have to let the market react, right? You can't sit there, read the news, and then try to react to it. There are algos out there that can understand the news in an instant before you even see it. They have acted on it, right? That's why it's such a lousy game to play. But they had everyone convinced that the news is that's also conventional wisdom. Well, I need to be informed. I need to watch the news. Have fun with that. Okay, I've been doing this for more than 20 years. I can tell you. All right, you don't have to listen to me, but I can tell you. People think I'm a little crazy at times when I say I don't follow any news. In fact, when I see big moves in the market, I know that I can tell you that news came out, but I don't know what the news is, right? And then usually someone will tell me what it is. But I can tell you that the market reacted to something, right? And that's all I need to know. All right, anyway. Litecoin leads. Oh, yeah. So, Alex, you mentioned this thing real quick, right? This halving stuff. Be careful with that. All right. History doesn't always repeat itself. People make a big deal. Oh, the halving, when it happened this time, we may not be in the same economic environment as the first time or the other times. What were rates doing at those times, right? We need rates, interest rates, again, they're the beginning of this whole game. So you have to consider that. All right, don't look at these isolated events and say, oh, the halving, that's the thing. Don't look at these things in isolation. There are many moving parts to this puzzle that you need to be aware of. And you have to understand what carries weight and what doesn't carry weight. All right, let me just see what's going on here on TradingView. I see some other stuff here. Okay, all right, got that. All right, so real quick, let me do the Litecoin real quick, and then I'll jump to a couple of these questions. All right, so here, so Raman, thank you for sharing this. This right here is the updated trade scanner that Raman is sharing. This is available in my Discord community. There's a channel. People ask me, how do I get to this? It's in my Discord, and there's a channel, right? There's two of them. There's one for stocks. There's one for coins. Stian upgrade. He basically made an update so that the trade scanner now, instead of just a price and a timestamp, it gives us a stop loss and a take profit. It gives us the whole trade. And next, we're going to have email backups. So now you can get an email when this comes out instead of having to go into the community and look for it. All right, so let's take a look at Litecoin real quick. All right, and let's see what's going on here. Let's put this out on the chart. Let's see what this looks like. Now, I'm going to switch to a 4-hour chart. Why? Because this is basically the primary time frame that my trade scanner evaluates. It evaluates a number of time frames, but this is the one where basically it gets the trade information from. Okay, so let's put these orders on the chart. So this thing came out, let's see, on 8/21. That was earlier today. 64.97 short. All right, let's see where that is on the chart here. Okay, I just want to draw these out. So 64.97 is here. Okay, now keep in mind, these don't always work. Look. This one's not working right now. It's obviously in the red. What's the stop on this? 66.26. Oh, this stopped out. Okay, so this is not even a trade. This stopped out very quickly. And this can happen, right? So that's 66, what was that? 66.26? Yeah. And the take profit was 63. So this thing stopped out. What was the low point here? Right, it never even came close. So as we learned with that Bitcoin situation, you want to respect that stop, right? So you know these orders in advance. This thing, I guess, came out earlier today, like 10 or 11 a.m., whatever, and it went straight to the stop. That's going to happen. Now we're tracking all this. So there's going to be a page and it's going to show all of these trades, and you have to see them together as a group, right? It's hard to judge by just one, but there's an idea of what one looks like, and it's going to continue to call shorts. It's not going to call longs. So if this thing turns around again, probably over the next 12 hours or something like that, you're going to see another short call in the channel. Now, I know it called Cardano too. Is a Cardano one any better? I'll take this one off. But that's just an idea, all right? And you have to understand, this thing makes a few calls a week, and some of them are really nice, okay? The advantage to using something like this, of course, is it's doing all the work for you. So you don't have to sit there and like do the analysis, and it's telling you the orders, right? And it's just for the same exact reasons every time. I wrote in my article, you have to have some kind of plan or some kind of criteria. You can't go about this sitting in front of your computer thinking you're going to place orders by watching stuff on a chart. These days, I think that game is just obsolete. You need something that's going to do the work for you, that kind of work. And really, you should be managing orders. Okay, here's Cardano. Let's see, is this one any better? Let's see. I like to analyze this with you guys because I don't even know the outcome of these trades, and I want to see, what's going on here. So ADA USDT, right? So let's just put the prices on here. 2702 is the entry. Let me just put that on here real quick. Where are we at right now? 26051. So 2702 is around here, right there. That's 2702. Okay. The stop on that thing is let me see, 2734. It's a little tight. 2734. That's up here. That's the stop. Okay. That's where the stop loss should be. And the take profit is what? 2653. This thing went to 2612. So this thing went to its take profit. Right, is that right? That's 45, right? 53 is right here. So look at this. This is what I mean. This one worked. So Litecoin stopped out. This one was green, right? Now here's the thing. You're like, well, so what if they're all like that, right? What if this is only a 50% win rate system? What if? We're going to find out, by the way, because we're tracking all this. The reward risk that's built into this automatically when you're placing these orders is 1.5 to 1. So out of 100 trades, right? If half of them are losing trades and the other half are winning trades, you should come out ahead, right? 1.5 to 1 reward risk. That's by default. Now, of course, you can change that, and you can, if you want to have a larger reward for the risk, you can do that as well. But it helps to have. You need to know how and when to do that, right? And that requires some training. But there are situations that call for, let me put on, let me expect more because it's reasonable to expect more. You have to know when to do that. All right. Anyway, so thank you, Raman, for sharing those with me. Okay. So that was Cardano. So again, Trade Scanner. If you guys are looking for something that basically can give you the ideas, that's it. And we're doing a lot of updates. It's getting better. So you can check that out. Again, you have to go to, is it? I thought it went to the take profit. Where's the take profit on that thing again? 2653. This thing, I see a low here of 2586. Is this maybe it's, how much is this thing, right? 2648 right now. This thing's at 2648 right now. So, and the take profit on there was 2653. So how is that still in play? 2653. That thing should be out. I mean, it went to its target and some. Even though, what's the low of the current candle? It's 2612 is the low of the current candle. So I'm not sure what you mean there. It was take profit. Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. So I went over time here, man. I was supposed to do this a little shorter, but all right, let me just do a couple of things. So that's the trade scanner. Guys, let me know if you have any questions about that. You could find that in the Discord community. All right. And if you want to reach out to me, you could send me an email. Right. My email's on the screen here, mark@marketmarkets. Or you can also send me a private message in the community. That's usually one of the faster ways. Don't send me messages on TradingView, because I get messages on there and it takes me forever to answer them. I apologize for that, but that's just not a good place to send me messages. I say that and people still send me messages there. But please, if you're paying attention, don't send me messages on TradingView. Okay. All right. So Alphen, real quick. Alphen. All right. Let me see if I can get through these real quick. So this is a stock. Let's go to the 4 hour. Let's go to the daily. Interesting. So can you have a look at Alphen at the Euronext? Right off the bat, this looks bearish. Okay, look at this. Bearish. Lower high. Check that out. All right, and you're about to break this low. Look at this. So I wouldn't be in a hurry to go. I could see maybe if you're thinking long, like failed low double bottom situation. But here's the problem with that. The problem is all of this is bearish. Lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. So lower low is likely. I would not be too excited about a long. If you want to go long, at least wait for a clear-cut signal. There's nothing right there. Okay, you have a level, but I wouldn't expect much. If this thing is going to change, it needs to take out that resistance. Okay, so that's Alphen real quick. All right, I think Raman asked about, was it WTI, Raman, you asked for? Let me just go back real quick. I think he asked me about WTI. Okay, hold on. Where is it, Raman? Raman asked me WTI. Okay, real quick. Oil, WTI USD. Let's see, is this the correct chart? No, hold on. USD WTI. Okay, so here's the thing. Oil has been a little strange. I guess this may be a cyclical thing, but look at this, right? So oil has done that recently. Let's go straight to the weekly chart. That's the best thing to do because you want to get perspective. This is oil, okay? Now, what you need to pay attention to on oil, this, by the way, oil is a heavy component. Energy stocks are a heavy component of the S&P. So this is important, right? Look where you are. That's a resistance. And this is probably you have a consolidation here, and you're at the range high. So I certainly wouldn't be very bullish on oil unless it started taking out these resistance levels. And if this thing pulls back, watch out for the S&P, because I think, 12% or something? There's a pretty significant percentage of the S&P that is energy stocks, okay? And that would be oil. So if oil pulls back, you may see some pain there. So definitely a resistance, definitely a range high. I'd be looking for shorts. If I was going to do anything with this, I'd be looking for shorts, not longs, for swing trades. Now, you can argue that this is long, that's bullish, okay? But the thing is that bigger picture, you're at the range, you're coming around a range, a weekly range high. So this thing is likely to work its way back toward the middle of the range. That's what I'd be looking for as far as a swing trade short. Okay, so keep that in mind. And it's plus with dollar rising, right? That's usually not a good thing. Let's take a look at dollar real quick. Here's dollar index. We shouldn't be too surprised to see a dollar index getting bullish in the face of a rising rate environment. That's good for the dollar. All right. Remember, everyone said the dollar is going to be going into the toilet and blah, blah, blah. Not quite. So keep that in mind. This is just an inverse picture of the bonds, right? Bond prices go lower, dollar generally goes higher. Higher dollar, generally bad for things like oil or gold and things like that. All right. Anyway. Okay. And then Alex had one. Okay. Alex, where's Alex here? Okay. Alex, okay. KAS USDT. KAS USDT. All right. So guys, next week, by the way, I'm not going to do any Q&A. Okay. Next week. So what is this thing here? This is a daily chart. Nice general trend. Let's go to a weekly because I'm not familiar with this. Let's see what's going on here on the weekly. Okay, so this is generally bullish. Generally, right? You have that structure. But be careful because you have this, right? This, by the way, this is an ideal wave count. This is a very ideal wave structure. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, which doesn't overlap 1, right? Look at that. And then 5. very clear cut. So you have one gigantic impulse wave, okay? So this fifth wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this right here would be a gigantic wave 1, right? A broad, this entire structure is a wave 1. You have 5 waves complete. And as I tell people when it comes to wave counts, right, you're only looking for wave 4s and wave 5s. You have wave 5 complete here, which means chances are on bigger picture, pullback, this is more likely in pullback mode than higher high. Now, it doesn't mean that we are going to see the pullback, but just keep that in mind. You have 5 waves complete, and typically the next structure is a corrective structure, right, on the broader time frame. So please keep that in mind. If you're going to work with this thing, keep your expectations low on the long side. Yeah, I see the higher low. I see all this. If you're going to do something with this, I wouldn't be going long now. Wait for the double bottom. At least give it that chance, right? And then swing trade, see if you can test high. That's all I would look on something like that. Be very careful because, again, I'm not familiar with this coin, but all altcoins, nothing is immune to the bond market. They may be temporarily immune, but if it's highly speculative, I wouldn't expect anything dramatic out of it from here. Okay, just keep that in mind. There's a lot of things working against it. Okay. Okay. To invest. Okay, well, we'll wait for a corrective structure because if there's a giant wave 1 in place, which we just saw, there could be a broader wave 2 developing, and wave 2 can test as low as the bottom of wave 1, right? It can retrace 100% of wave 1. It's possible. Doesn't mean it will, but it's possible. I'd be looking at the 50% retracement area too. 50% and 618 areas. I'd be watching those areas carefully for investing based on that. Okay. All right, you guys. So great questions. Great questions. All right. Let me just see what this says over here. Will I get access to all of your Discord and email features after how long? Okay. Azir, I can't answer all of that here. That's a good question. Do me a favor. I see the trade scanner is yeah, listen, just send me an email, mark@markpremarkets.com. I can answer your questions, or just go. You could sign up for the Discord for free, right? You could just become a free member. And by the way, you need a Discord account to get to the trade scanner and all that. It's amazing to me. People sign up without a Discord account, and then they can't figure out why they can't get anything. So please make sure you have a Discord account. It's free. You just go to discord.com, whatever, register and get yourself an account. Make sure you use the same email. And you can email me, go into my community. You could send me a private message there. I usually get to those first, okay, because I check regularly. All right, you guys. So, oh, cool, Bill. All right. Okay, I got to wrap this up. So I appreciate everyone's questions. I'm sorry if I missed your question. Again, come to the community. There's now a free channel in there. You can ask questions in there as well. If you put spam, you're going to get kicked because I have a moderator. Okay, Alex is watching you now. That's why I have a free channel, because of Alex. So thank him. Okay, anyway, thank you guys for taking the time with me here today. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm going to be changing my format, like I said. I'm going to be shortening this. I know I said that earlier, and I'm still talking because I can't stop talking. But these are generally going to be more like a half hour, all right? So I'm going to have to reduce the Q&A portion. That's probably what I'm going to have to do. So if I miss your question, I apologize. Come to the community, ask there. Anyway, if you have any other questions, Markets. Okay, make sure you check the links in the description for any other stuff. And also, if you what was I going to say? If you like the content, press like, press subscribe, and leave a comment too. Leave a comment in the video after I publish it. That can also help as well if you can. All right. Anyway, so guys, thank you very much. Hold on. Let me just, what was it say over here? Let me make sure I get this. Okay, cool. All right. So everyone, if I missed anything else, I'm sorry. All right, cool. All right. So enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you very much for watching.